Okay, welcome. Today I'm going to be making a reflection about leadership, and I'm going to be talking about 8 keys to leading others. Okay, so enjoy. So, today I'm just going to be making a reflection about leadership. I have been asked to lead more over the last few years, and in my life I have been around some really powerful leaders, abbots of monasteries, and some really benevolent men and women. And so today I just wanted to talk about 8 keys about leadership, and this also draws upon some of the king archetype, because I feel that's what makes a good leader, is a man or a woman who embodies the king or the queen. So the first key for me is about blessing others. So what does that mean? So a good leader, it's not about him, his ego, about him getting it right. It's kind of, and it links in with one of the later points, it's about him giving his power away almost. So that means that, rather than him taking the praise, it's actually giving the praise, giving the blessing to those that he's leading. So how would that look? So for example, if you're working as a team, you're the leader of the team and you do really well, then rather than you just saying it's me, you actually, you specifically praise, you specifically bless others, and it's being specific. So it's like, you might have asked them to do a task. Maybe it was to create a website, and they did a really good job, and you can say, I really love the colors, or I really love the design of it. It's like making sure you're very specific with your praise. So that's the first key. The second thing is about, enabling creativity. And what does that mean? It's like giving people the space to create. So that might be, getting them to, make music. It might be to draw, to paint, to allow their creativity, their imagination to unfold. The flip side of that is the tyrant king, and he will generally, not allow others to create, and he will, put them down, and he will denigrate them, saying, "Oh, it's terrible." It's like giving them the space. And Walt Disney was very good at that. He had one room when they were creating, which was just for creativity. It's like you couldn't critique anything that people did in that room. They would go in and they would kind of just come up with ideas. And I think that's brilliant. It's like, that's where all these amazing ideas came from. So that's the second thing, enabling creativity. So the third thing is, for me, leadership is like taking care of yourself. So if you want to be a good leader of others, you have to turn up in a good space. No, maybe not necessarily turn up in a good space, but it's like, it's okay to wobble, but it is also important that you deal with your stuff. You have some form of well-being, emotionally, physically, mentally. It's like you have some way of processing what's going on. So either that's someone to talk to, go, actually, this has come up in my leadership, can you help me? And having someone to support you. And certainly in the Arthurian legends, this idea that the land and the king are one, that when the king is not taking care of himself, then the land falls apart. Whereas when he's taking care of himself, then the land thrives and Camelot thrives. So that's the next thing. The next thing about leadership is really knowing where you're going and having a clear direction. It's like, how can you lead others if you don't know where you're going? So if you're organizing something and you say, we'll just decide what they want to do. It's good to be flexible, but a good leader knows that, this is what I want to create. I want to create really a harmonious, heart-centered space. I want to create this type of product. I want to create this type of event, this type of outcome from my client. Having a clear vision, then you have that flexibility, but you know, that is really important to know where you're going. And that came from Jordan Peterson. And the next aspect, I think it's the fifth point, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Fifth point is about letting go of others following you. So you might know where you're going, but it doesn't matter if people follow you. You know, otherwise we might kind of, how would I say this? We might not have the integrity. We might go, well, in order to please them, I'm going to change. And it's like, it is important to be flexible, but it's also, right, I have that direction, this is where I'm going. If people follow me, great, but it's their choice if they follow me. So that's the next thing. This comes from the Thai forest tradition, and the next one is about Ajahn Chah. When the monks, Western monks, first arrived in the UK, they, started up these monasteries, and Ajahn Chah wrote a letter to the abbots, and he said, if you want to be a good leader, then you are going to need to be like a rubbish bin, because people will throw their rubbish into you. This is what happens when we lead. But what he was saying is you need to be a bottomless rubbish bin. So when people throw their stuff into you, you just let it go. You don't take it personally. When we step up to lead, we make mistakes. And, that's another key thing is like humility. Like, yeah, I've made a mistake. A couple of weeks ago was at Scouts, and I made a mistake. And I said, actually, I lost the bit of paper which had the details on it. And it's like that humility, that, I mess up, because when we do that, when we have integrity, we have humility, then that enables the others to have that humility. We have to model. A good leader models, how to be. So yeah, the rubbish bin, it's like, so people are going to dump their stuff on you, and it's letting it go. So yeah, the next point, seventh point, was about integrity, and the final point was just about, giving that power away. So you have, you're in a position of authority. It's like to have that humility. It's like, give it away. Ask others to step in to lead. Enable others. So you have this authority. You have this power as leader on one level. Give it away. It's like it turns into the tyrant king and the archetypes when we try and hold on to it. It's like, no, give it away. You lead. You take over. You do stuff. It's like I see my role as a leader in Scouts, for example, is more taking a step back. Right, how do I enable them to lead, rather than me doing it all, giving them experience what leadership is like. So those are the 8 things that I have found have really benefited me, and that's kind of what I've learned. But I'm sure there's many, many others, and I'm sure over the next few days I will think of more things. But yeah, please do reflect. Try these things out. Does it work for you? And yeah, as always, please do leave your questions, comments, and reflections below. Okay, so many blessings. Have a wonderful day.